Hi, Roberta. Did I get in okay?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Oh, boy. Oh, thank you.
Good morning, Chair Galvin. Apologies
Good morning.
for the interruption. We are having some difficulties with Zoom here in the office. I would like to ask if you could please reorder the agenda.
Sure.
So if we could start with 3.2 and then go to 3.3, and we'll have 3.1 be last.
Sure.
The folks that are presenting on that one are having difficulty getting into Zoom right now for some reason.
Okay.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
No problem. So it looks like it's 10 o'clock. Do we have everybody we need for 3.2? I see Mark is on.
We do have from the staff, we have everyone we need for 3.2. I would just ask Secretary Atha if she could confirm that we have all contract subcommittee members present or not.
I believe we're still waiting on board member Badenford.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Okay, so we'll wait a few minutes then.
Thank you very much, and sorry for the last minute change.
Not a problem.
Technology.
Not a problem at all.
Chair Galvin, it looks like we have all the subcommittee members now.
Great, thank you. I'll go ahead and call the meeting of the Contract Review Subcommittee to order. And may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair Galvin.
Here.
Board member Badenford.
Here.
Board member Walsh.
Here. Great, welcome everyone. Item number 2 on the agenda is public comments. We'll now take public comments on non-agenda items. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand, or you can dial *9 if you're on the phone. Do we have anyone?
We have no public comments.
All right, we're going to reorder the agenda. We'll move to item 3.2. Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the subcommittee. Item 3.2 is a second amendment to professional services agreement with TIV, and Elise Howard, our communications coordinator, will be making the presentation.
All right, let me share my screen here. Okay. All right, well, good morning, Chair Galvin and board members Badenford and Walsh. Today for your consideration is a recommendation for the board to approve an additional $100,000 in funds to be added to an existing professional services agreement with TIV for creative services. As background, in 2015, I apologize, there's a typo on the slide. 2017 should be 2015. But as background, in 2015, TIV was selected to develop phase 1 of the Take It From the Tap program. Following a request for proposals, TIV was selected as the best value for having a comprehensive knowledge of outreach strategy and available tools, including experience with targeted digital outreach, animations, and of course, the quality of their work. For the current PSA with TIV, we have expanded the scope of work to include not only the Take It From the Tap program, but added new outreach initiatives as to allow staff to quickly address outreach needs such as drought. To date, I have worked with TIV on projects such as Take It From the Tap, Streets to Creeks, the Value of Water campaign that was utilized for water rate education, and most recently the drought campaign. TIV has been a great resource for Santa Rosa Water. Their strategies have been effective in reaching our broad range of customers, and they have aided in achieving our community's water savings targets. Since December of 2020, Santa Rosa Water has ramped up for drought. Based on their broad range of proven skill sets, I utilized a PSA with TIV to develop the initial drought outreach campaign. Today, we have a robust multimedia plan and are currently planning for contingencies should the drought persist. To build on the current drought campaign success and continue to create a cohesive, consistent, and cost-effective campaign that aligns with our Santa Rosa Water brand, Santa Rosa Water is recommending that the contract with TIV be amended to add additional funds to allow for the expansion of this campaign and others. The current agreement with TIV is for a do not exceed amount of $99,000. The request before you today is a recommendation to add an additional $100,000 in compensation for a total do not exceed amount of $199,000. I'd also like to add that these funds have already been budgeted for in the 2021-2022 budget for outreach, and I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you. So the extra 100,000, is that going to be expended during the next fiscal year, or is it what's the timeline if there is one?
It expires January 1st, 2023.
Okay. And I take it staff obviously has been pleased with the relationship with TIV and things seem to be going very smoothly.
Yes, they provided us with a great work product. They're very responsive. You know, a lot of times in the work that I do, I've got like 24 hours to put something together. So it's been a really good working relationship with them. And I believe the product they provide serves our community well.
Great. Board Member Walsh.
Yes, thank you, Chair Galvan. And I just wanted to check in too with staff. We mentioned that they have a cohesive, consistent program. I think that has a lot of value to it. So going forward, they'll take on the messaging that they already perform. And I just had a comment in, I think this group has also performed some work on some of the other city goals, and the messaging between the different city programs will be consistent as well. I think it was a violence prevention program. They came up with a sort of a partnership label. Sorry, Elise, I'm struggling with that a bit. If you can help me out. Are they doing other work too that sort of has a mutual benefit?
They've worked on, I haven't been directly involved with those projects, but TIV has provided work for a number of city departments.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Badenford, any questions or comments?
Questions, thank you.
Okay. I'm fully supportive of the recommendation from staff. So why don't we formalize it with a motion and then we'll see if there's any public comments.
Mr. Chair, I will move that we add the $100,000 to the TIV contract as proposed by staff, consistent with the goals to save water and communicate with the public.
Thank you. And was that a second, Board Member Badenford? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Before we take a roll call vote, we'll open it up for public comments on item 3.2. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9. Do we have anyone, Secretary Atha?
We do not.
Okay, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Chair Galvin,
Aye.
Board Member Badenford,
Aye.
Board Member Walsh.
Aye.
Great, passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Howard. We'll now move to item 3.3. Director Burke.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and members of the committee. Item 3.3 is a professional services agreement with Montrose Air Quality, and Heather Johnson, our environmental services officer, will be making the presentation.
Great, welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, Chair Galvin and members of the subcommittee. As Director Burke mentioned, I'm Heather Johnson. I'm here today to talk about a professional services agreement with Montrose Air Quality Services. Okay, so just to give a little bit of context with this one, out at the Laguna Treatment Plant, we have solids from our treatment process, which are sent to 4 anaerobic digesters. The gas from that digestion process is sent through a gas conditioning system where it's treated for hydrogen sulfide with our iron sponge, and then siloxane from our carbon vessels. The treated gas is then sent to our 4 combined heat and power engines. And the emissions from both the treated gas process and from the combustion in the engines is regulated under our Bay Area Air Quality Management District permits. So the scope here was we needed a contractor, we need a contractor to perform monthly emission monitoring on the carbon vessels for siloxane removal and from the CHP engines. They also need to do an annual compliance source test for all 4 CHP engines, and they should be able to support any as needed monitoring that may come up. And then we requested that the city receive a final report within 4 weeks from the emission testing dates. So we posted a request for proposals on Planet Bids. In addition to that, I sent roughly 30 solicitation emails to all of the contractors that were listed on the California Air Resources Control Board approved independent contractor list. From that, we received 2 responses. We had a 3-person proposal committee, and we unanimously selected Montrose Air Quality Services. The professional services agreement pretty much mirrors what the RFP stated in the scope that we needed, monthly, annual, as needed monitoring. They'll submit a draft and a final report at the conclusion of any testing. And then the contract is going to be for 3 years and $200,000. So one thing that the city attorney's office did ask that I note here in this presentation is during the review process, Montrose suggested some language changes here in section 5 insurance. They wanted to strike the language that you see here. In consultation with the city's risk management and with the city attorney's office, we did agree to strike this language. And so in conclusion, the Water Department is recommending that the Contract Review Subcommittee support the approval of this professional services agreement with Montrose Air Quality Services. And it will be brought to BPU on November 18th for consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I have to admit I was concerned when I saw the language being omitted from the PSA. I'm sure that it was thoroughly vetted by the risk management team and the attorney's office, but I'm concerned that it sets a precedent or could set a precedent for other companies that we want to enter into similar agreements with, wanting to strike that language as well. Can you give me a little more information in terms of how and why the language was stricken?
I don't really have that information. I can look into it more. I know, I will say that Montrose did suggest striking other language as well that we did not agree to. And so there was a bit of a back and forth between the 2 agencies. And this was one that we thought would be okay to just let go.
So,
Okay.
Chair Galvin, we do get requests quite often from consultants. We do try very hard to stick to our standard professional services agreement. In some cases, based on the type of work, which Heather, if you can talk a little bit about that led to part of why there was comfort level by both the city attorney's office and risk management. We will sometimes make exceptions. And if we do, we definitely call that out as part of what we're bringing forward to you in the contract subcommittee and also at the BPU meeting. So I think in particular, for this one, it's just based on the work that they're doing on site, that there was comfort level by both the attorney and risk management office that they could waive this particular insurance requirements. And Heather, can you just talk a little bit about the type of work that they're doing and why we felt comfortable with that?
Sure, absolutely. So they come on site and they have their own equipment that they bring onto site, and then they put that testing equipment in like the exhaust from our CHP, or they fill up a bag just from the gas. And so in reviewing the work that they do and their potential to cause harm for the city, we agreed that this language wasn't as important as some of the other language that we did not agree to.
Okay. All right. I mean, maybe when it comes to the full board, Assistant City Attorney Donovan can maybe speak to some of that as well. But other questions or comments from the committee?
Just echo I think it would be important to be fairly clear with the full board. I think it was kind of a flag for me as well. I have great confidence in our staff and our chair with the legal minds on our team. But as a non-legal person, it certainly was a flag for me. So as much as you can do to make it understandable to the rest of the board, I think will be very helpful.
Okay.
Thanks. Board Member Walsh, any comments?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Then why don't we go ahead? I'm fully supportive of it with that caveat, and we can have a further discussion when it comes to the full board, but let's go ahead and have a motion to approve the recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Contract Subcommittee of the Board of Public Utilities recommend to the Board of Public Utilities the contract as presented by staff for professional services for monitoring costs up to $200,000 for 3 years as recommended.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a motion and a second. At this time, we will take public comments on item 3.3. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Atha?
We have no public comments.
All right. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Chair Galvin,
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort,
Aye.
Board Member Walsh.
Aye.
Great. Passes unanimously. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Are we ready to do 3.1, Director Burke?
Yes, we are. So I can go ahead and introduce item 3.1. It's a second amendment to professional services agreement with E&M Electrical and Machinery, doing business as Wonderware, California. And Janine Saragosa, our Department Information Technology Supervisor, apologies, will be making the presentation.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Galvin and Board Members Walsh and Board Members Badenfort. My name is Janine Saragosa. I am the Department of Information Technology Supervisor for the Water Department. And I have a particularly red face because I have a very glowing copper, curtain in front of me. So I don't normally look this pretty. Anyway, I would like to start off with thanking you for your time and attention, and also for the adjustment of the agenda today. And I'm here to present a request to amend a PSA with Wonderware E&M Electric. And I'm going to share my screen. Does everybody see my presentation? Fantastic. Great. Thank you. So this is the second amendment to the PSA for E&M Electric Machinery, DBA Wonderware. We have been doing, I'll give you some background on this. It's not, there we go. Wonderware is used in both local and regional water processing to control data that we get from all the telemetry within the systems and the processing. We have over 15,000 sensors that indicate temperature and flow, electrical current, pressure, all kinds of information that they use to manage the process and also know whether or not equipment needs replacement or maintenance. And then there's reporting that comes out of that data that's used for regulatory requirements and also management decisions just in the process itself. In 2017, the PSA was created with E&M Wonderware and was approved to provide technical and operational compliance recording equipment that utilizes software that was developed by Wonderware. So E&M is the company that represents and distributes the licensing for a software called Wonderware. And we created the PSA in order to be able to use their technical staff and enhance our operational opportunity with the software itself in the telemetry we wanted to advance. We started out with only 800 sensors and we're up to 15,000 today. So we've been using them very consistently throughout the process at both regional and the software, but both regional and local for this. In 2018, it became time to renew the license, and we had different licenses for geysers and LTP and local. And at that time, we took all of those licenses, combined them into one agreement for a full 5 years to save the city money and to be able to manage the operational support of upgrades and issues across the regional water supply process. The second amendment that we're asking for is to increase the current contract by $257,725. It covers two different quotes for needed improvement. The first quote is for services of $29,555 to install and configure equipment to replace failing equipment at LTP. We have had the same equipment running this system since 2012, and it's started to fail. They're doing some workarounds to keep it running, but we really need a full replacement process. And then there's $228,170 to upgrade the software and combine the geysers and LTP into one system that can be managed by the staff at LTP. So currently those are two completely separate systems, and the management of both of them costs the city more than if we were to combine them and have one staff manage the operation from one system. So in addition to the upgrade, we're also combining the two systems together with all the telemetry involved. We are recommending by the Water Department that the Contract Review Committee support the approval of the Second Amendment to the Professional Service Agreement with E&M Machinery Wonderware. And this amendment request will be brought before the BPU for consideration on 11/18. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Ms. Saragosa. I just have one question. It looked like in one of your prior slides, were there three systems, one local, one LTP, and one geysers?
Yes.
So the local is still going to be a separate system?
Yes, local is a separate system, and they're actually, their systems are different because of they're measuring the collection and distribution of water, whereas most of the plant processing is related to plant functionality. There is some that does some distribution of the water through the geyser system, but for the most part, it's really mostly processing the water at the plant that we're considering.
Okay, thank you. Other board member or committee member questions or comments? Yes, Board Member Badenford.
Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it.
Sure.
I generally speaking, I'm supportive of it. It sounds like, especially the software to combine geysers and LTP seems like a very worthy endeavor. Just for my own process question though, it's an amendment request rather than a new contract, even though it does seem like it's quite new software. Is this just kind of a common way to add on things? Is it process wise? Is it easier? Is it, I certainly don't think it's out of line with the amendment request to the contract. I don't think it's out of line in any way. It just struck me that it does seem like, especially the software to combine is new. And so I'm just curious why those aren't separate.
When we looked at it, we actually initiated the original PSA for the same type of services for the installation and configuration of equipment, as well as the management of the telemetry and the configuration of the software itself. This particular work that they're doing in the combination is both within the network itself as well as within the software. And it is functionally the same as what the original PSA was for. So we felt it was appropriate to keep it within that same PSA. And the licenses that are being supported, we aren't changing the software. We're upgrading the system that supports the software and combining it.
Great. Thank you. That helps. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Board Member Walsh,
Sure.
any questions or comments?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I think you have, I think, our full recommendation, but let's memorialize it with a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we increase the contract amount by $257,725 to upgrade the software related equipment necessary for the Laguna Treatment Plant and the geysers as presented by staff. And the contract is with EMI for the operation of the Wonderware software and related components.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll now open it up for public comments on item 3.1. If you wish to make a comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. If you're dialing in via telephone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. Secretary Etha?
We have no public comments.
All right, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Chair Galvin,
Aye.
Board Member Badenfort.
Aye.
Board Member Walsh.
Aye.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Zaragoza. That concludes item 3.1, and I think that concludes our agenda. So unless there's any further comments or questions, we will go ahead and adjourn the Contract Review Subcommittee meeting.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just one comment, sir, if it's okay.
Yep.
First, I want to thank staff for getting together the documents to help me with this meeting. I think Roberta Atha especially helped review the history of the contract for our messaging with TIV, and that was very helpful. I appreciate that. The other thing is the recommendations are so choppy because I'm on one iPad going back and forth. I'll just self-report that I had a bout of COVID started Saturday. I'm doing fine. I had been fully vaxxed. And I just want to thank everybody for helping me out, get this set up, and recommend that everybody get vaxxed and get to your doctor if you have a problem.
All right, we're glad you're feeling better and hope that you get symptom-free real quick.
Thank you, sir. So does my wife and dog.
Oh, I'll bet. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the Contract Review Subcommittee. Thank you all for being here and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, Lisa.